All right, so what we're going to learn right now is how to make your Chatfuel bot into a search engine. So you maybe know how to create the blocks, the buttons, the the plugins, but for this specific lesson, we will use the plugin called Google Site Search. So go into a block here. So just create it if you don't have one. So I've created a block called search. And what you want to do here is click the add card here or from here if it's a blank block. But for this instance, I've already put the plugins. But if you don't have one yet, so click the more and then use this Google Site Search. Okay, plugins. So if you click that, you will get this plugin, a blank plugin. So I've already filled it up. What you want to do this here first is what's the search request. The search request is the input from a user input, and for this instance, I've already put an attribute of user input. So we just have to replicate this. So what I want to put here is a user input. So every time I supply it with the attribute called user input, it will search that request to Google. So secondly, what you have to do is create your subscription title. So anything goes here. What I did was I just typed here the latest news about the user input that you've set it up here. So let's jump in here on the settings. Okay, the settings is actually the number of story. It's a gallery, okay, that you would want to see the result from. Okay, so these galleries will consist of 9 galleries. If it's your website, for example, you have a big website where you have blogs and articles. So any related to the user input here will Google will search to that website. Or if you're just using the Google search, you get a lot of results from here. So you can also check or uncheck this, let users subscribe to the search results. It depends on you. So here's the main thing here. So you would need the Google API key and the search engine ID. So let's click these links where you can really, create those credentials and the ID. So first we go to this link. If you're new, you just have to click that and it will go to a Google API. So for this example, I already have the APIs enabled. You might want to search in Google how to create this, but for this lesson, I won't be tackling everything, but just have to show you the credentials. So I have here on the credentials part, you could see different interface right now. You could see like a blue one or anything, but it depends on the current dashboard, the current interface that Google has. So just what I want to do is just create credentials and create an API key. You don't know how to do that, you just have to Google search it just to create this one. So I've created it and just copy, then close. You see there's an updated version. That's a key. You just have to copy that and paste it here. Okay, so I have to replicate everything like this one here and then this one there. Oops, I think I've typed in the wrong box. So let's copy the credentials, the APE again here. So it should display a check mark here. So I have to delete this one just for the sake of this example. Okay, so I have 3 checks, but I still need this one. All right, so let's put it on a 9 stories again and then leave it checked. Right, so this is optional, so it depends on you, but I don't need to put anything there. So what I want to do next is the search engine ID or the CX or CSE ID. So what I want to do is to search for this search engine ID. So just go to this link, and you will be headed to you will be directed here on the CSE Google. Okay, so this is a custom search. So I've set it up almost many search engine, but what you want to do here is just to create a search custom search. So I've created here. So if you, I created a chatbot. So if you want to create a new one, just create add, click add, and then for example, what I want to do is chatfuel.com. It will be the search engine, the default search engine, or the google.com for a backup. So what I will do is just click create, and you won't want to click the control panel and then copy this one, copy to clipboard. What I'm going to do is just get the search engine ID and then paste it here. You should get, 3 checks right now. So you can add more, site here if you want. Okay. It will just take some time, but you don't want to wait. Just, refresh that block. Let's paste the code again. There. So you have 3 checks. Okay, so how do we test it? So this one is a very good example where I want to search it from the default answer. So every time I type anything in a chatbot, it will go to this block, but we will have to filter it. So what I do is, so this is already done. So we will have to use this block right now. So we want to do is go to the default answer, and by default I have on every chatbot that I build, I have this save user input, leave this one blank, and then save it to an attribute. So you can use it also for Dialogflow or Janice, whatever. So just put the attributes here, and then on the second part you create a block. Okay, so just create a block, and then what I would want to do is create an attribute, filter the user input, which is this one, that user input, and then I choose the starts with a colon. It means every time a user type a colon and then something, it will redirect to a specific block. So every time I use this will be the call where the default answer we would know that, hey, you're using the colon, so I would redirect you to the search block. So I put in the search block. So every time I type in the colon and then something, it will redirect to the search block, which is this one that we just made. So let's test this out. So what I want to do is go to my bot, okay, and type in here, something like JSON. Okay, there's an error, so let's get back here and refresh that maybe. Okay, so what I want to do here is click this key and then make sure that this one works. So this should work. The key here, this one, let's have to copy it again just to make sure we are getting a there shouldn't be a restriction. So there should not be any restriction at all. So click save, right, and then we'll have to try it again. Let's say JSON. Okay, I'm having an error. So what you want to do is start with the user input and then redirect it to this flow, and then we go to this block. Okay, so let's test this out, and should bring us to this search. Right, so we just the plugin redirects us to a Google. All right, so let's try it again. So type that and then the JSON, that and a space maybe. Okay, so let's try. There you go. So it searched to the Google because we include Google here, but we want to do is let's delete that. So we make sure that our search will just go to Chatfuel alone. So it will take some time to populate, and then we want to test it again. So let's try with sequence. Let's search for a word sequence, and it should return with the Chatfuel blogs or documentation here. So you know that it will be very powerful if you have this feature in your bot. For example, you're looking for you want to do an e-commerce, you want to give them a value from your articles, your blogs, or any post. That will be a best. Those are the best examples that we've been using. Search to the e-commerce or any website that you want. So the application that I use here usually is this one. I have an online course. You can try it out. This one is already in the Philippines. So what I do here is I search for a command, a Linux command. So I'm selling a course here, the LFOB course. I have this a Tagalog Filipino course where they can search any commands using the same feature that we just did. Okay, so for example, I want to directory. So I want to search about a directory. What commands will the Linux tell me? So I have here rmdir. That's a delete. Change directory. That's a chdr or the v directory or anything at all. So you can also search for the word Linux itself. So it will give us any commands about Linux. So if you want to browse more, just click the more commands, and then so you can customize here, like more stories, maybe more documentation. Okay, if you want to test that out, so let's just test it. Okay, so let's go to my previous search, which is okay, that my bot here. So we would want to search again for the word, that word, and okay. All right, so you want to search, for example, um, send to block. So it will get an article about sequences, showing the default answer once per day, and then it should be 9 of them. Okay, and you see at the last is more documentation. So it will just give you give the user a more way to navigate and see more articles about your bot, about anything about your website. Okay, so that's about it, and I hope you learned something here. And check out my other videos on Chatfuel, how to do things, hacks, and simple tricks that you can use with your bots. Bye bye.